Hello everyone, welcome. My name is John Cottrell. This is Soft Flow, a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. Welcome, glad you are here. So we're going to focus on shoulders today. I'm calling this class shoulder release. So sometimes we can hold a lot of tension, a little bound up energy in our shoulders. So we'll be focusing with some of our postures, kind of the front deltoid area. There's kind of three heads to the shoulder. So the front portion here, kind of the side or lateral right here, and then the rear deltoid. So it's just some stretching, some just good motion there for our shoulders in our practice. And because it is a gentle yoga practice, we like to use props to help support ourselves. So we like to use a nice soft blanket. So if you have a blanket, go ahead and find something soft to sit on and kneel on, because we will be on our hands and knees for a portion of our practice. If you have it, or a couple of them, yoga blocks, just something firm. They can even be just soft pillows. You don't necessarily have to have yoga blocks, but just something soft that you can use for extra padding and support. So blocks or pillows, like small cushions from a sofa, or even some hardbound books. And then just maybe just a big pillow that you might like for your Shavasana practice. I just have a yoga bolster here. So I think that's it as far as what we'll need for our practice. You can also have bottled water or some tea with you. You can always take a break and pause whenever you need to. Sometimes I forget to mention, but I want to remind folks that this is your practice. This is your practice. So as I'm doing things, teaching, and even modifying some of our poses, you can modify them more to suit your body and how it feels at that moment. If a certain shoulder stretch, for example, does not particularly work for you, just go a little bit more mild or choose something else instead. Okay, let's find our comfortable seat. I'm sitting on my soft blanket. I like to cross my legs in a seated posture. You don't have to cross your legs. You can always extend your legs or even just cross your legs differently, whatever feels best for your ankles, your knees, and your hips, and your back too. You can even sit in a chair for the first portion of your practice. So once you've found your comfortable seat, nice and tall through the spine, lengthening up and down, we're going to take a few deep breaths, very intentional breathing. Good ujjayi breath. You'll inhale through your nose. You can exhale through your nose, or you can even exhale through your mouth with a soft sigh if you'd like. Maybe a couple more times. Nice full breath to expand your lungs. Exhale to release. And then just settle into slow, steady breaths. Tuning in. And even to go in deeper, feel free to close your eyes if you'd like, or you can just keep your eyes open with a soft gaze forward or even downward at the ground. And just continue to notice your breathing. As you're able, breathe in a way so you can hear your breath, like it's the only sound in the room. Good. And notice how your body is responding to your breath. And this might mean a nice full inhale to feel the lengthening in your spine. So you might sit up taller. You might even feel a little lighter in your seat, but also feel the expansion of your lungs as you inhale. Then as you exhale, as you're able, draw navel inward towards your spine. We call this the abdominal lock, and I'll explain a little bit more of what's happening in this sensation. So again, you want to feel as if, or just imagine like your breath lived in your belly, and as you inhale, you're letting it rise to fill up your lungs. In the upper body, we want to keep that uplifted sensation. And we do that by creating the lock, so the breath doesn't fall back down. That keeps us light and lifted. So again, inhale, lifting, lengthening, expansion of lungs. Keep that uplifted sensation. Exhale, create your abdominal lock, drawing navel inward towards spine, that engagement of your abdominal system. We'll do that a few more times. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths in and out. I like to call this our breathing meditation, a way to tune in and prepare for our moving practice. We'll add a very simple movement, our moving meditation, whenever you're ready. And inhale to extend your arms out and up, reaching towards the ceiling. Then an exhale to extend your arms out across the room as you bring your arms back down by your side. Let's do that again together. Inhale, reaching out, good energy and effort, reaching out and up. Exhale, good extension, reaching outward as your arms float back down by your side. Now go ahead and continue to breathe and move at your own pace. You don't necessarily need to follow my direction or movement. Just follow your breath. And I'll just point out some things that you can notice while you are in your moving meditation. So you might be breathing slowly, so your movement might be slow as well. So pay attention to the sensations that arise in your body. Certainly that energy of the arms as you extend them out and up, reaching. Good energy through the hands and fingers. As you reach into the air, maybe that lengthening down through the sides of your body. And since we're going to be focusing on shoulders, notice your shoulders as they help your arms to move up and down. Kind of this lateral movement. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on. We'll take 2 more breaths together. And when you're complete, you can just bring your arms back down by your side. You can even just let them rest in your lap. Notice how there's an energy shift from that expansion and movement of the arms now to stillness and relaxation. Let's stay here and engage another stretch for the shoulders. Go ahead and extend your left arm forward, bring it across your body, and use your right arm just to gently hug it in. It's okay if the elbow needs to bend here, and just hug it in gently. Now this kind of targets kind of the lateral or the side part and even kind of the rear portion of the shoulder. This is very light. You don't have to tug too hard here. Just an awareness of the sensation as the arm reaches across the body. You can even imagine breathing into that back side of the left shoulder. Let's go ahead and re-extend the arm forward. Just reach, then out to the side. Turn the palm down, and then just bring your arms back down by your side. You can even just rest the hands in your lap for a moment. Return to that neutral sensation. We'll do the other side. I'm trying to mirror you here. So we'll take the right arm and just bring it across the body. Even if you need to bend the elbow, that's fine. Use the left arm just to hug it in. Just find that spot that feels just right for you. And we're just holding and just notice the sensation, that gentle stretch, the lateral or side part of the shoulder, and the rear part of the shoulder as well, which of course is attached to the back body. So you might feel a little bit of a stretch in the back side there. And breathing and even imagining you're sending breath to your shoulder. Again, just an invitation to the shoulder work that's ahead. Let's go ahead and release. Let's take the arm out in front, then out to the side, and turn the palm down, and bring the arm down. Let it rest. We're ready for our seated back bend. This too also targets the shoulders quite nicely. Let's start by bringing the hands behind us like this, either on fingertips or palms, whatever feels right for you here. I usually just go to my fingertips. And then you're going to roll the shoulders back a little bit. You're looking forward initially, but then you might tip your chin up just a tiny bit. And because the shoulders are behind us now, you might be engaging your upper back muscles as well as the rear deltoids, but this also will kind of pull and stretch gently through the front deltoid connected to the chest muscles there. So again, chin tipped up slightly. We'll inhale, press into the ground, feel breath rise upward, fill up your lungs. And we'll hold on the exhale, hold the position on the exhale as you draw navel inward towards spine. You might even squeeze shoulder blades together. Just breathe on your own. But again, as you inhale, feel breath rising away from the belly, fill up the chest. You might even feel the stretch quality across your upper chest from shoulder to shoulder since it's a bit more open. Your exhale, draw belly in, squeezing shoulder blades together. Again, our mild seated back bend. And maybe some awareness and attention on the front portion of the shoulders. There's a lot of energy and effort here, so be aware of that. Take 2 more breaths. After the second breath, just lower your chin so you're looking directly forward. You can walk your hands towards yourself so you're sitting up tall. And then again, just bring your hands and arms back down by your side or in your lap. Hold for a moment. Just returning to this neutral position. That was our back bend. Let's take our forward fold. If your legs are crossed here, go ahead and uncross your legs. We'll place the soles of the feet together just to open up the hips a little bit. This is where you can use your pillows or blocks or books if you'd like, just to tuck them underneath the knees, just so the legs can naturally rest open right here so they don't feel like they're hanging open. All right, then just hold on to ankles, shins, feet, or toes. You just want to be able to hold on at a place, but you can still sit up as tall as can be initially. We'll take a breath in. Feel tall in your seat. Exhale, draw belly in for engagement and support and hinge forward just a tiny bit. Hold. Inhale right where you are. Feel lengthening in the spine at this new angle. Exhale, draw belly in, hinge forward a tiny bit more. Choose where you want to go. You can stay just like this. If this feels just right for both your back and your inner thighs, then stay here. Really no need to go any further or deeper. One of our intentions in our soft flow practice is to really take our time, move slowly, and not too deeply into our postures, maybe only working at 60% rather than that full 100%. And sometimes that can be a challenge, just kind of discovering and figuring out, well, what is that 60% in my own body at this moment? We're going to go a tiny bit further, just a little bit. I'm going to invite you to lower your chin and let your back round. Rather than having the straight back, let it round a little bit and then just go a tiny bit deeper. And then as you're able, you can extend the arms out in front like this. Just kind of reaching out, maybe you're just on your fingertips. Just bringing a little bit more attention to your back body. And even breathe a little bit more deeply into your back. Once again, paying attention to perhaps the rear portion or the back portion of your shoulders. Right across the upper back, perhaps. And just 3 more breaths here. After the third breath, you can just step your hands back towards the legs and feet. Push down into the ground to help re-extend your upper body. Sit up nice and tall. That could be an inhale, and once you're tall, exhale. Take 1 more breath in and out. From here, we'll move to hands and knees. Take your time as you make this transition. You might move your props out of the way, but you may still want to use your blanket, if you happen to be sitting on one, to use for a little cushioning for your hands and knees, or just your knees, or just your hands, whatever you might need. So here's our little tabletop. We'll inhale, To arch the back, create a little bit of a back bend. You'll look forward, opening up through the chest. Exhale, round it out, pulling belly button up towards spine. There's that rounded back again, chin to chest. Inhale to reverse it. Feel your pelvis tip back. Your belly feels like it sinks down a bit. Heart opens, look forward. Exhale, round. And do that a few more times on your own. Our inhale when we look forward is cow pose. Exhale, rounding the back is cat pose. So we flow through these two postures. What's interesting about this position in movement is that the pelvis is moving, your back and torso is moving because we're creating this back bend and rounded sensation. But although the arms are in place and your hands are not moving, this does affect your shoulders. Just some minor mobility in the shoulders, mainly because of the movement of the torso. Finish the breath that you're on and take two more. After the second breath, just return to a neutral tabletop position. We'll hold for a second here. If you happen to be on a pad or blanket or a folded mat, let's go ahead and move those pads to the side so we have just the mat underneath us here. And we'll get set up for down dog. We'll step the hands forward so your hands are no longer underneath your shoulders. Spread out your fingers nice and wide so you get that stretch between each finger. And then just push with some firmness into the ground so your palms go flat, arms are straight and strong. Now we're still on our hands and knees for a moment, but then tuck your toes. I want you to pay attention to your shoulders as we start to move into downward facing dog. First, inhale to cow pose, that little back bend. Exhale into cat pose. Hold this rounded sensation, but then lift knees and hips into the air. And as the hips go up and the chest sinks, notice what changes in the shoulders. If you need to, make some adjustments with your feet on your mat, maybe even your hands. I like to take my hands just a little bit wider so I have a little bit more space. And then only if it feels right to you, you're going to sink your chest like it's going down towards the floor. And then to get out of that sensation, feel your upper back move forward, like if they're going to move towards your hands. And then sink again. And if you need to take a look at what's happening, I'm demonstrating here. So sinking the chest and then unsinking the chest. So upper back goes forward and then sink. And again, notice how this affects your shoulders. Do that one more time. We'll sink and then released for a more neutral position. And you might be looking straight down at the ground. Go ahead and walk your feet forward, maybe to the center of your mat until your feet are directly underneath you, feet on the ground. Then you'll inhale to slide your hands up your legs, maybe to your knees or thighs, to extend your spine so it's long and flat. We are going to exhale and fold just partially here. You can touch your toes if you want to. You can even bring in a couple of blocks. This is nice. Bring in the blocks just to help hold your balance in a forward fold if you need a little extra support. You can even hold on to the backs of your legs. Notice you can keep knees bent like mine are. Back can be fully rounded or partially rounded. And even just relax the head. Let's nod yes, shake head no. And if your arms are free, if they happen to be hanging down towards the floor, let them go loose. Maybe circles like you're stirring a big pot of soup with your arms, both directions. So make sure it's clockwise and counterclockwise with the arms. And that's all we'll do with the arms there. Okay, we need to come out of the pose, so we'll shift the weight back towards heels. Bend your knees, let your hips come down like you're sitting into a low chair. Start to look forward. Let's try something a little different. Place both hands on your thighs, hands on thighs. Push into your thighs to help straighten the legs, standing up tall. And once you are tall, go ahead and finish standing taller by reaching up into the air, yes? And exhale, bring your arms down by your side. Mountain pose. Let's just hold here for a moment. Let your arms go loose. Wiggle your fingers, circle your wrists, and then shoulders. Circle your shoulders. Backward, forward a few times, even one at a time or both at the same time, whatever feels good here, just to kind of loosen things up. Shoulders, and that should affect the neck there too. All right, let's go do our half salute once again. We're going to fold and come back up. Here we go. We're going to inhale, slowly extend your arms up into the air. Exhale, spread your wings this time out to the side, bend your knees. Feel like you're sitting back and down into an imaginary chair. Let the knees bend. Allow the back to round, fold, maybe touch toes or maybe just your shins. Inhale, slide hands up the legs, extending out through the spine, long flat back. Exhale, fold. Brief pause here. Stir the pot of soup. Clockwise, counterclockwise. Just to loosen up those shoulders and upper back. Lean back into your heels, bend your knees, sit down into the imaginary chair, look forward. Same thing, we'll place hands on thighs, press strongly into the hands to help stand up. Just some leverage there. Inhale, stand up or reach up nice and high. Exhale, arms out and down by your side. Excellent. Feel free to wiggle fingers, circle the wrists, roll the shoulders. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and continue. We're going to move into our Warrior One variation, our first lunge. We're going to do a different sensation with the arms today. All right, we're in mountain pose, but let's soften the knees. Put a bend in the knees, hold that bend. Shift weight into your right foot, fully planted on the right side. Maybe lean forward just a little bit, tiny bit. You might even feel your right foot, your toes grip the mat. So you can easily tiptoe the left foot back. You can even balance on big toe or the balls of the foot behind you. There's a little bit of distance between the feet, but not much. And then press down into the ground with that left foot. The legs should turn out at an angle. Your toes should be out at an angle like that. Opens the hips. Right knee will keep that nice bend. Place hands on hips. Push pelvis down. We're going to get nice and tall up through the torso. And then just kind of turn so you're mostly facing forward, looking out in front of the mat. We're going to inhale, take the arms up into the air, straight as can be. But as you exhale, just bend elbows. I'm just turning to look at you so you can see what I'm doing. So just come down like that. Yes, just goalpost arms. Just for a little different sensation in the arms and shoulders. So this is our variation of Warrior One. We're going to do a couple things here with the arms. One, keeping elbows bent. You're going to bring the elbows together in front. Maybe elbows can touch, but they don't have to, just together. And they're going to reopen and then take them kind of back behind you. Little squeeze of the shoulder blades. Do that 2 more times. Come forward, maybe touch elbows, take them out and back. Squeeze and forward. Last time. Back all the way. Squeeze and then back to neutral. What we'll do here is inhale, shoot the arms straight up again. As we exhale, just hinge forward. Start shifting weight into right foot. Enough so it's easy for you just to step forward. So we're kind of in a chair pose like this. We'll stand up tall, reach for the sky, both arms. Exhale, arms down by your side. Feel free to shake all that out if you want to. We'll do the exact same thing, other side. We'll start with that slight bend in the knees. Keep that bend, shift weight into left foot, nicely grounded. Lean forward a tiny bit so you can feel the grip of the mat with your left toes. Start tiptoeing the right foot back. Either balance on the big toe or balls of the foot. Pivot right heel to the floor so you're now planted solid on 2 feet. The right leg turned out at an angle, left knee pointing forward and bent. Hands on hips, push pelvis down, get nice and tall through the torso. That should provide the space that we need to mostly face forward. Then we'll inhale, take both arms straight up into the air. And the exhale to bend elbows to our goalpost shape. Let's hold that for a moment. And we'll do that same squeezing and opening sensation. Here we go. Bring elbows forward, squeeze, maybe like you're squeezing an imaginary beach ball. And then out and back. Opening up through chest and forward. Squeeze. This is affecting the shoulders as well. Also just helping us to, it just reminds us how our shoulders allow us to move in all these directions. All right, this is our last one. So we're opening up, a little squeeze of shoulder blades, and then come back to neutral. We'll inhale, shoot both arms up into the air. As we exhale, we'll hinge forward a little bit. Keep leaning into left foot so we can step forward with the right foot. So we're kind of in this mini chair pose. Inhale, stand up tall, reach towards the sky. Exhale, arms down by your side. And again, if you'd like to, kind of shake all that out. All right, now let's go through our full sequence, going to our second version of Warrior One, getting a little different sensation. All right, mountain pose. Move at your own pace, rest if you need to. Here we go, inhale, reach into the sky. Exhale, swan dive. So we spread our wings, bend your knees, sitting back into your imaginary chair as you fold carefully. Inhale, rise up halfway, long spine, flat back. Exhale, bend your knees enough, rounding your spine until you can bring your hands down to the floor. Walk both feet back to the back end of your mat until you're in plank pose. Let's hold here for a few seconds. This is some good shoulder strength. Just pushing into the floor with the hands, strong arms, strong shoulders. Slight bend in knees, hips to sky, downward facing dog. And again, noticing that shift and change in the shoulders because of the sinking chest between the arms. Adjust the feet. We're going to keep this moving. We're going to inhale, extend right leg up behind you. You can just reach straight back. It doesn't have to lift high at all, just energetically reaching through your toes. Exhale, bend the right knee. Bring right knee in underneath you towards your chin or chest, shifting your body weight forward so you're almost like in plank pose again, shoulders over wrists, and then just set the right foot down. Plant it into the mat, and then set the left knee down. This should allow you to pick up your right hand, reach to go get your right foot, and bring it up near the top of the mat. Literally pick it up and bring it forward. Relift the left knee. Pivot left heel to the floor like we did in the first version of Warrior One. We shift the weight back. So we really are planted into that back foot. Hands should be a little bit lighter so you can bring your body up to fingertips. And like we did a little earlier, bring both hands to this one thigh. Press, lift to about 45 degrees right here. Try doing this. Reach forward with your arms. Forward. And then up into Warrior One. We're going to open it right away to Warrior Two. So your torso turns towards left side of the room, arms come down to parallel. Now we're going to work with a little shoulder endurance. We're going to hold here. Just keep reaching energetically out through the arms. Now if we were to hold this a long time, and we won't be holding it too long, but a really good hold here does affect the shoulders. Really building some good endurance strength here. Okay? All right, let's get ready for our side angle. So what we'll do, we'll reach forward out over the right leg, bend your right arm at a right angle like this, and then bring this right forearm right down to the thigh if it reaches. If it doesn't reach, just place your hand on the thigh, arm if you're able, and then left hand straight up into the air. Nice energy of reaching and lifting towards the ceiling. So this right arm is actually kind of light on the right leg. Okay, you can rest on it, but ideally if you can take some of the weight away, so you can paint, I call this paint the bench. Now, bring this left hand down behind you, either to your left hip or to your low back. Here we'll create a few more circles with the shoulder. Roll it back, making the circle, maybe 2 or 3 times. And then just hold it back for a couple more breaths. This is our modified side angle pose. And a little bit of opening for the shoulder. Let's go ahead and inhale, re-extend the left arm straight back up into the air. We'll turn towards the floor, carefully bend. Bring your palms down to the ground. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you so we are in a runner's lunge. Palms press firmly into the mat so you can slide the right foot back. Plank. Pause for a moment to regain that strength in the upper body. Bend your knees slightly, send hips into the air, downward facing dog. Holding, adjusting feet and hands, down dog. Feel how the chest kind of sinks downward, affecting shoulders. Remember, you're pressing firmly into the ground with the hands to
Maintain the strength in your arms, shoulders, and back. Now we'll inhale, extend left leg straight up and back. Reach through your toes. As you exhale, bend the left knee. Bring it in underneath you toward your chest or chin, shifting body weight forward, shoulders over wrists. Little pause there. Then set left foot down. It's just your toes. Then the right knee down. So then again, we can go and pick up the left foot, bring it up a little higher. This is really just so if you're not able to step all the way through to the top of the mat, this is just a nice variation. We'll re-lift the right knee, pivot right heel to the floor. Let's put weight back into that foot. Hands should be slightly lighter. Rise to fingertips to help extend spine. Once again, bring hands to thigh. Push into the thigh just to help that leverage to rise up. Only to about 45 degrees right here. Let's pause. We'll shoot the arms forward and then up. Then we're going to open right away to our warrior two. Let's check in with alignment here. Left knee and toes are pointing forward. And we're going to do our endurance work here of holding the arms out. Reach. Good effort here. Just imagine you are trying to touch the wall out in front of you and the wall behind you. There's also some good balance happening here too. And leg opening, hip openers. Okay, here comes our side angle. So let's reach forward, angle upper half of the body. Let's bend the left arm at 90 degrees. Bring the forearm down to thigh if it reaches, or just use your hand here. And then we'll take the right arm up into the air. Really reach up so we get that lightness we want ideally in this left arm so we can easily paint the bench. Good extension through the right hand, energy shooting through the fingertips. And now we'll bring right hand down either to right hip or to low back, whatever feels right. And then a few circles with the shoulder. Because of this kind of binding action, okay, with the arm behind us, that might mean not as much mobility in the shoulder, but we're just kind of checking in to see how much mobility is still in the shoulder, even with the hand behind us. Now we'll inhale to re-extend right arm up into the air. We'll exhale to turn, carefully fold, take your time, plant the hands, rise up onto tiptoes behind you, put more pressure of the hands into the ground, strong arms and shoulders, slide left foot back, plank pose. Hold for strength. Let's bring knees to the floor. As you're able, sit back into hero pose. Hero. Okay, just so we can get a little pressure or get the pressure off the hands and wrists. We are going to go back out in a moment. We're going to go to child's pose. So you can even bring in some props here, a blanket or pillow or a block, and I'll show you how I like to use the block. We're going to come back out to hands and knees so we can get the hips off the heels here, and then take the knees a little wider. What you could do, these are just some options. If you've got a pillow or a rolled up blanket or a towel even, you can kind of tuck it down in between you, okay, underneath you, and then come down to your child's pose. Now the hips can stay high if they need to. If you're able to sit back towards heels and it doesn't affect your knees, then go ahead and do that, or use more props, or just lift the hips up a little higher. Now the forehead could come all the way down to the ground. I'm just going to bring mine to a block. That could also be a pillow or a towel. I got the hips a little high here. I like to call this puppy pose. Let's start with arms bent, like so, if you can see me. So my forearms are just resting on the ground. Doesn't affect my shoulders too much. Just take a few deep breaths. And then what we'll do is extend the arms. Reach. So you really just have the hands out front. The arms have lifted off the ground. It's almost like a down dog where you have that sinking sensation of the chest between the shoulders, between the arms. Just a different feeling here of extending the arms. A couple more breaths. We're going to relax that in a moment. Then you can bend the elbows and just rest the arms back down onto the ground. A few more breaths in your child pose or puppy pose. Alrighty, Slowly come back up to hands and knees. We're going to go through our warrior sequence. This time we will hold that warrior one because we were flowing through it that first time. Okay, bring the knees in a little bit so they're directly underneath your hips. Step your hands forward, spread out your fingers, press palms into the ground, strong arms, tuck toes. Inhale for cow, look forward, arching your back. Exhale, round your back, engage belly. Lifting knees and hips up into the air, feeling the chest sink between the arms. Notice how it affects your shoulders. Here we go. We'll inhale, extend right leg up, reaching back as you're able. You'll exhale, bend right knee, bring it in underneath you. If you're able, step all the way up to the top of the mat. Now, my foot kind of lands just shy of the wrist of the right hand. That's perfect for this. Turn left heel to the floor. Put weight back into that foot. My hands even slide back a little bit so I can be sure I've got weight in that back foot. Rise to fingertips, extend spine. Both hands on thigh, lift up 45 degrees. We're going to do the exact same thing as we did earlier. Shoot the arms forward, rise up, inhale. Exhale, bend elbows for our goalpost shape, like we did our very first variation of Warrior One. We'll just hold here. Okay, we're going to do something a little different. One more breath in this goalpost shape. We're going to keep our leg posturing. We are going to hinge forward about 45 degrees, but then shoot the arms back behind us. Just reach. I'm just reaching through the fingertips. Can you see my arms? Just reaching back. Some options. Just reach back like this, free-handed, or if you can, interlace fingers behind you and reach your knuckles back. Okay, now if that feels a little bit too intense, just release the hands and just keep reaching out with free hands. If you can fold fingers but can't straighten the arms, that's okay too. Just bend your elbows like that. Couple more breaths. This is affecting kind of the lateral and front portion of the shoulders. A lot of strength building in the legs here, especially this front leg. We're going to hinge back up nice and tall. Release the fingers. Shoot them straight up again. Let's go ahead and open this to Warrior Two. Let's just see if we can flow through this gently and easily. Side angle, reach out. Bend elbow 90 degrees. Come down to thigh. Left hand up into the air. Hold for a second to check in with painting the bench. Okay, now bring left hand down behind you to low back or left hip. 2 circles with the shoulder, 1 and 2. And then we'll inhale, re-extend left arm back up into the air. Let's turn, carefully fold, hands down to the ground. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you, runner's lunge. Slide right foot back, brief plank, bend knees, lift hips into the air, down dog. Other side, same thing. We'll inhale, extend left leg up, reach. Exhale, bend left knee, bring it in underneath you, shift your body weight forward as you're able, landing foot nearer the left hand. Or do what we did earlier to get there. Pivot right heel to the floor, shifting weight back. You might step the hands back a bit so you can get that pressure in that back foot. Rise to fingertips to extend spine. Hands to thigh. Push, lift to 45 degrees, hold. Shoot arms forward, inhale, rise straight up, Warrior One. As we exhale, bend elbows, and of course, bend that left knee a little. Let's hold. Breathing. Because we're in a wider stance in our Warrior One, this does affect the legs, maybe even your low back. But let's continue that lightness we want in the upper body, lifting up through the spine, breathing up to lungs. All right, we're going to hinge forward about 45 degrees. Let's shoot the arms back, reach through fingertips, either with free hands or interlaced fingers and reaching back with your knuckles. Wherever you are, again, just noticing the sensations in your shoulders. Couple more breaths here. We'll hinge our way back up until we're nice and tall. If your fingers are folded, go ahead and release. We'll inhale, reach straight up. Exhale, open it to Warrior Two. Torso turns to the right side of the room. Warrior two. Right away to side angle, reaching out. Angled upper body. Bend left arm, bring left arm to left thigh. Right arm reaching up into the air. Hold for a second so you can check in with painting the bench. Then bring right hand down to right hip or low back. 2 circles, 1 and 2. Then an inhale to reach right hand up into the air. And our exhale to carefully turn towards the floor, bend slowly, take your time, plant the hands, rise up onto tiptoes behind you, more pressure into the hands. You might even lift your hips a little bit. That way the left foot can slide back. Hold in plank for strength. Bring knees to the ground. All right, let's sit back towards the heels. We're going to slide off onto the floor so we can swing the legs around to the front. Go ahead and sit in the center of your mat. Grab a couple of blocks. We're going to move into our bridge pose. Our modified and supported bridge pose. We use the blocks here. Lie down with your knees bent, feet flat on the ground. And even just take a moment in stillness. Breathe deeply. Notice your whole back body connected to the floor and pay attention to the rear portion of your shoulders, perhaps making contact with the ground. Alrighty. When you're ready, inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale, engage belly, giving you the energy to press feet into the ground, lifting your hips, get those blocks, and slide the blocks underneath you so you can sit on the blocks. This is our supported bridge pose. Sit, maybe adjust your feet if you need to, so you have good leverage and support. All right, now with the upper body, as best as you can, we're gonna rock maybe to one side. I'm leaning to my right side so you can get the left shoulder, so the arm is free. Trying to get the left shoulder and arm underneath and do the other side. Kind of lean over to the left side, get that right shoulder and arm a bit underneath. Then we'll bend elbows at 90 degrees. Just a gentle press, not too hard, into the ground with the backs of the arms. Just noticing that there's a bit of pressure, just so that your whole front body, especially through the chest, feels like it's expanding with each breath. Again, we're working at 60% rather than 100%. So you don't have to press too firmly into the ground with the arms. Just some nice deep breathing. Breathing into upper chest. Just in that other back bend we did at the very beginning of practice, we were seated with our arms behind us, chin tipped up. I had you breathe in right up to collarbones, feeling that stretch quality across the chest from shoulder to shoulder. Maybe you can kind of mimic that here. 2 more breaths. Now press feet into the ground so you can lift your hips off of the blocks. Let's move the blocks out of the way. You might probably have to get your shoulders out from underneath you to do that. Moving the blocks and then coming down to the ground slowly and carefully. Then hug knees into chest. Maybe some light circles here. Holding onto the knees or shins and just create some circles with the knees to get into the low back and hips. Carefully start rocking forward and back. Good breathing here. With a good exhale, giving you energy. See if you can rock your way up to seated, right up. If you need to, you can even just roll to your side and press yourself up. Let's take a brief boat pose, modified. Keeping the heels on the ground, feet flexed. Hold on to the bent knees here. Use your hands. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, engage belly. Keep this nice engagement. Just lean back, keeping that nice straight spine, tipping chin up slightly, and just hold here. This is it. This will be our boat pose. We're not going to be here too long, just so you can feel this nice engagement. Breath rising to fill up lungs. Exhale, draw belly in. Nice and strong. 2 more breaths.
Alrighty. Relax just by sitting up. Okay. We need to come back to hands and knees, and we need to bring in some props. What we'll need is at least one block, maybe up near the top of the mat, even in front of your mat. And if you'd like, maybe a towel or a blanket, something soft running across the front portion of the mat like this. All right, we're going to be doing two postures here. One that's going to really affect the front portion of the shoulders and one that will affect the back side. The first one will affect the back side. So join me here on hands and knees and just follow these instructions. Look at your left hand. Step the left hand forward just a tiny bit. Step the left hand to the left side of your mat or blanket a tiny bit. Look at your middle finger. It's pointing forward. Imagine it's pointing towards the 12 on a clock. Turn it inward. So now the middle finger or the hand on the clock is pointing towards the 1 or a 2 on the clock. Lean into that left hand. As you're able, extend right arm out to the right side. Inhale. As we exhale, we're going to thread the needle. Right arm behind this left arm, bending left elbow, so the right arm and shoulder come right down to the ground. You create a twist in the torso. But what happens here is left arm is bent at about 90 degrees just because of the repositioning of the hand. And then you're lying right on top of this right arm. A little stretch for the rear deltoid or the back portion of your shoulder. Couple more breaths here. There's some other variations of this posture, but we'll keep it simple and stay here just for a few more breaths. Just threading the needle. Because we could get more pressure on that right shoulder, but we'll stay just like this. One more breath in and out. Make sure the left elbow is bent at 90 degrees because this is the leverage to help us get out of the pose. When you're ready, push into the floor with left hand, lift body, unthread the needle. Maybe re-extend the right arm out to the right side of the room, and then hand back down to the ground. Come back to a neutral posture, hands and knees. Actually, let's take a break off of the hands, maybe sitting back briefly in hero pose. Circle the wrists. That's really going to affect the left wrist because we were in that forced flex. Okay, and we'll do the exact same thing other side. Okay, so we're just threading the needle. So hands back out in front. Okay, pay attention to right hand. Step right hand forward a little bit. Off to the right side a little bit. Middle finger's pointing towards the 12. Turn it to the left a little bit so the middle finger's pointing towards the 10 or the 11 on a clock. Lean into the right hand. Extend left arm out to the left side. Inhale. Exhale, thread needle. Right arm coming down and behind right. Bend the elbow at 90 degrees, the right arm. So the left arm can come all the way down to the floor, right there onto the shoulder. If you need to adjust where your right hand is, that's fine. There's a twist in the torso, so a little extra movement there, but some awareness of left shoulder, since it's just kind of pressing into the ground. So you even think of this like as acupressure. That's a great form of healing and exercise. Okay, just acupressure, just pressing into muscle tissue. Okay, just to help release and unbind. So we're kind of doing that here. A few more breaths. Pay attention quickly to your hips. So they're just, feel like your hips are moving directly back. So you maintain that twisting sensation in the torso. 2 more breaths here. We'll get out of the pose. Make sure the right arm is bent at 90 degrees. We'll use that as leverage to get out of the pose. Press into the mat with the hand. Lift. Unwind. Re-extend left arm up to the left side. And then hand down to the floor. There's our tabletop. And again, we'll sit back, resting. Okay, circling the wrists. More so on the right side, perhaps. Alrighty. Okay, so that was the rear shoulder. Now we need to get the front portion. This is a little bit more intense. Now, I will be holding the posture for some period of time there, but if you need to get out of the pose or adjust it, please do so. Listen to your body, because this is a little bit more intense in the shoulder joint and muscle area. All right, let's go back out onto our hands and knees. Step the hands forward. Again, hands out from underneath the shoulders.
Okay, knees can even step back a little bit so they're behind the hips. And really just bending elbows just to lower your body down to the floor. Now, you can extend your arms straight out to the sides like a capital T, like this, so right angles, or bring them down a little bit at an angle, bringing the hands down towards the sides of your body. So at a T shape or down more like airplane wings, okay? Let's start with the left hand. Bring the left hand in underneath your shoulder. You'll push into the ground with the left hand to roll onto your right side. This is going to affect your right arm and shoulder. So you're just lying on your side, but your arm has disappeared behind you, getting into this front deltoid. Now, this can be a little uncomfortable just holding here. This is where you can bring in that pillow or block right here and just rest your head on it, like this. Now, you can play with the sensation of this posture. If you keep pushing into the floor with the left hand, opening up the front body, that's going to affect your right arm and shoulder. If that's too much, okay, soften that up a little bit so your body is starting to unwind or roll towards the ground a little bit. That should loosen up or soften up the shoulder stretch, okay? So again, pay attention to how this feels in your right arm and shoulder. Modify if you need to, and if you feel complete with the pose, you're welcome to come out of it at any time. I'm going to hold here maybe 3 more breaths. And there's certainly some variations of this posture, but we'll just keep it just like this. Okay, after your 3rd breath, just roll back down onto your belly. You can move the block for a moment out in front, just out of the way, as you re-extend the left arm either straight out, T-shape, or down at an angle like an airplane wing. Now bring right hand in underneath right shoulder. Push into the floor so you can roll onto left side. Changing, if you need to, where the angle of the left arm. Bring in your block or pillow, whatever you've got for a headrest. So you can just kind of be on your side. Pay attention to how much sensation you're giving to this left arm. Really getting into the shoulder joint, but also provides a bit of a stretch in the front portion of the shoulder, also the chest, because it's all kind of tied in. If you need more sensation, just keep pressing into the ground with the right hand, opening up your body towards the right side of the room, or soften it by rolling back down towards the ground. If you feel complete with the pose, feel free to come out at any time, or hold here for 3 more breaths. After your 3rd breath, you'll slowly return to your belly. I'm going to move the block out of the way and bring both hands underneath shoulders so you can push back to hands and knees. Pause there for a second. Take knees wide because we're going to return to child's pose or puppy pose. Hips high for child's pose. Hips high for puppy pose. Hips low for child's pose. Arms can stay fully extended where you're just on your hands, or bring elbows to the ground, okay, for a little bit more softness. Even bring a block or pillow for your head. Okay, 3. Now let's take some time here. We'll take more than 3 breaths. Because after we complete here, we're going to move right into Shavasana, or prepare for Shavasana, because we're getting close to the end of our practice. The time seemed to have gone by really quickly. 3 more deep breaths in our child's pose variation. And maybe just thinking about the work that we've done for the entire body with some primary focus perhaps on our shoulders. After your 3rd breath, you might rise up to hero. Take a seat so we can sit in the center of the mat and then eventually lie down. So find a comfortable lying down position. Grab your props that you might want to use for your resting position. That might mean a blanket for your head, if you'd like, a bolster or pillow for bent knees, So we're going to lie down. First, bring knees to chest, little hug. As you bring knees in, as best as you can, see if you can do this, either clasp wrists, so your arms are kind of wrapped around the knees, and even lift your upper body up towards the knees or thighs. So you're kind of rolled up in a little ball, kind of affecting the outer shoulder and rear shoulder areas. We'll inhale, so we're rolled up in a ball. As we exhale, we're going to release and extend. Extend the legs out front, arms down by your side, perhaps palms up, because that'll be a natural outer rotation for the shoulders. And then rest. Again, find a comfortable position on the ground. Use props for support and softness underneath you. You can hold here in stillness. If there was any other pose to help you complete your practice that we did not do together, like a spinal twist or another back bend, go ahead and put those in. You're very welcome to, of course. Just as I said at the beginning of practice, this is your practice. So move in a way that feels best for you. And when you're ready, just come to stillness. And even as I work and move towards the end of the class, you can stay in your resting space. Noticing how your breath is helping you to fully release and relax. Maybe you were able to find some release in the shoulders today. And again, you're welcome to stay here as long as you need to. You don't have to move. I'm going to start to move towards the end of practice with some breath and sitting up. But again, stay here as you'd like. Before you start moving, take 5 slow, deep breaths. Starting to generate some movement and energy in the body. Take your time. These are slow, deep breaths, not a rush at all. And as movement returns to the body after these 5 breaths, take your time, move in slow motion, and roll onto either side of your body. Just into this nurturing posture, maybe several breaths here. Very restful and peaceful. You can be here and even stay here, or you might be still lying on your back in Shavasana. And again, when it's time to move, continue to move as slowly as can be. Rise up to seated. Come to your comfortable seat. You might sit on a block or blanket. You can cross your legs in a comfortable style. Sitting up as tall as can be with your arms resting down by your side or in your lap. Very nice. Slow, deep breaths just to reconnect. Good. And one more movement together. We'll inhale, extend arms out and up into the air. Reach. And as you exhale, bring your hands together and down to your heart. Return to stillness. Notice your breath. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying, Namaste.